Greetings, friends, and welcome to the Gospel Underground Podcast. This is episode 21, Soccer Sucks, the glory of the World Cup and the glory of God. I'm broadcasting live for us from the Power of Change headquarters here in Blacksburg, Virginia. Well, I'm here with my co-host and friend, Jesse Fury.
What's up, Reed?
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I wore a very plain gray T-shirt today, so you could not clown me.
No hats, no
hats,
tank tops.
Nope.
Yeah, I realized that I was being aggressive.
My guys love it. That's probably their favorite part of the podcast.
the mocking of the clothes. No, you look pretty casually nice.
Don't pay attention to my pants.
You did show me the cool leather bag you were looking at that would go with all that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I'm excited for you to get that someday. Well, we are back. We are on new microphones. How's it feel?
It feels professional. It feels great. What are these EV? You tell me what they are, Reed.
Electro Voice EV20s. Yeah,
wow.
They're ridiculous, but
you would make a good salesman on the
when I like
Sunday.
When I like something, I typically like to hype it up. You know, the mics we were using were fantastic, but these were always rated by the best of everybody I looked at. And a friend that I met recently out in Texas was talking about how these would be great, but I just didn't feel the expense was justifiable. And then I got a little bonus all of a sudden, so I was like, "Oh, we got to be in on that." So, yeah.
Do you feel like you've become happier since you got them?
I don't know.
I'm usually happier when I get new stuff.
I was trying to love him who gave them, kind of thing, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's been really fun. We started in August with this podcast and learning along the way what kind of recording devices and microphones and everything has been certainly enjoyable, a little nerdy, but certainly rewarding. Well, I'm glad to have you here today.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. You know, I walked into your kitchen today and saw more fruits and vegetables out of your garden than I mean, the size of your zucchinis are just really impressive.
Yeah, the phrase "your zucchini" is kind of an interesting one, and I'm still the grown up child in my house that all my family says, "You need to eat some broccoli, Dad. You don't ever eat any vegetables, Dad." So while Casey and my oldest Kayla, they were overseas for this thing called the Educational Foundation, this little tour of English sites in England, basically UK. Tommy and I, my son, were responsible for the garden, and we just forgot about it. And so I was like, "Oh man, I think there's some stuff out there, you know, stuff."
They grew giant.
Stuff growing, yeah. So we have these giant squash and zucchini, and I've been quoting this phrase from The Incredibles 2 with Dash says, "Well, who are all vegetables?" And that's kind of the way I'm feeling. But they're making ratatouille or something up there. You know, got the recipe of Remy's ratatouille. Yeah, legit.
There's meat in ratatouille, right?
I don't know if there's any meat in it.
Oh,
you know?
Reed.
It's not high end. French food is, from what I hear. It's scrap it together, and so.
Well, you could scrap some meat in there.
Yeah,
I would think.
Wrap it in bacon. I will, because my son and my wife worked all afternoon making this.
You will eat it.
I'll have to eat it. So I'm doing it. I have a friend on in New Jersey who takes pictures of her food on Instagram, and it just looks like what is this garnish? What is this, like rabbit food? And so she'll be proud. I'll send her pictures of vegetables or something. And so they actually go ahead.
No, I was just going to say speaking of food. I went to the dentist today. I don't like going to the dentist. I realized that. Well, I guess I've known that.
Right.
But today I realized I really don't like going to the dentist. I went to the dentist and they took x-rays of my teeth, and which every time they do that, I'm certain they're going to come back in and be like, "You have 14 cavities."
Right.
Today they told me I'm going to have to get one of my wisdom teeth pulled because it's broken.
Because you're like 15. Oh, gosh.
I have a broken wisdom tooth. Wow. It's not bothering me at all. And they were like, we'll just go ahead and write you up this ticket to have all 4 of them pulled. Well, I've already had one pulled. All 3 of them pulled.
So you're having surgery, basically, oral surgery.
Why are you going to make me have the other ones pulled? They're fine.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll charge you for them and make lots of dentist money or something.
Yeah, I don't understand. Why would you pull perfectly fine teeth?
Yeah, they're hiding. They're not hurting. Leave them alone. Well, you'll be able to chew on your vegetables for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, while Tommy and Casey were making ratatouille, the World Cup was on. The World Cup has been on perpetually in my house.
Now that's soccer.
Or yes, the World Cup of football, soccer. It's been on in our house and everywhere I've traveled recently on the radio, and we're kind of a soccer family. So, but before we get to talking about whether soccer sucks or not, whether there's glory in the World Cup or not, and what does God have to do with it, I figure we do our first segment today, Ruts and Butts, with a soccer theme. Ruts and Butts here on the Underground is a little segment that's based on a phrase from the book of Ecclesiastes, under the sun, which describes life here on planet Earth as if God wasn't real. And Ruts stands for ridiculous things under the sun, and Butts, of course, is beautiful things under the sun. So my Ruts today, Jesse, is floppers and fakers, like Neymar.
You got a lot of that in soccer.
Yes.
Yeah, Neymar. Yeah. I saw that he writhed around on the ground for quite some time against Mexico.
The guy really stamped him really good. It was really a cheeky little evil thing this guy did to him. But then afterwards, he just he acted like he got hit by a swarm of wasps or something.
Now, Neymar's the same. He's the same guy who did the extra 9 barrel rolls the other day, right?
Yeah, he's kind of got a diving technique that's pretty high end. People we could talk about diving in soccer. Of course, I was a wrestler and an American football player, so this is one of the things that when I see soccer, I want to throw stuff at a TV screen because I'm like, get up. You're acting like you're hurt. You're, in wrestling, you don't want your opponent to know you're hurt. It's like you're doing this in front of 50,000 people. You should be embarrassed. Is the way I feel for guys like that. So
when we were growing up playing sports, I played a little bit of soccer, but in the other sports I played, whenever someone would get hurt, we had a way of asking them if they were really hurt. We'd say, "Bro, are you hurt or are you soccer hurt?" And sometimes they would just pop back up because they were trying to get a foul call or take a break and say, I'm just soccer hurt.
Well, I've certainly seen things on Twitter from American football players that I'm friends with and everything. Everyone trying to make their soccer jokes in America. But it is ridiculous when those guys flop and fake like that.
It doesn't bother me that much anymore.
Well, the thing is, in the 2014 World Cup, I think it was in the round of 16, the Netherlands, the Dutch played the Mexican national team. And this guy named Ian Robin, right? It's spelled Ian. You say Ian, I believe. He completely invented. The guy sticks his foot out, doesn't touch him. He acts like he hit a tree log while he's on a hiking on the Appalachian Trail, dove forward in the air, and they won the game because of that. So, and they went all the way to the semifinals. And so
I guess I have a problem with that.
It pays off. That's the problem. It pays off so well that the guys do it. But now they've got video assistant referees. You can actually go back and look at that. So
okay.
that or the famous hand of God goal by Diego Maradona from Argentina against England, that would have been completely ruled off today because he clearly slapped the ball into the net. But floppers and fakers, ridiculous under the sun. But also beautiful things under the sun. I also have to say Neymar.
Yeah.
Because what these guys can do with a football is quite amazing. And since my wife, I met my wife, she played soccer, so that's her story. So all my kids do. So we're constantly at soccer things. And so me being kind of this goofy looking gorilla wrestler guy, I've actually tried to play soccer with my kids. And so, man, the stuff they do, it's absolutely amazing.
That's right.
Difficult and in a good way. It is the beautiful game.
It's the beautiful game. There's really nothing that impresses me in sports as much as someone who's really skilled at soccer, like Neymar.
That's right.
Who's doing things that are just. And I think you're right. It's because I can't do it.
Right. And it's to control a ball as a team. That's why people go crazy, right, when you score one goal, because it's actually really hard to do. To defend a soccer thing, you just got to be clumsy enough to smack the ball away from people and keep doing that. You can do that the whole game. You can almost get lucky and win a game. So ridiculous things in the soccer world.
That was when I played in intramurals in college.
That was your
all
goal.
I knew how to do was play defense.
Slap the ball away. Successful.
Jesse, just stay around here, and when the ball comes, just kick it away. Just kick it as hard as you can in that direction.
Make sure. Well, our topic today is soccer sucks, ? There's a question mark on that. And looking at this phenomenon known as the World Cup, Americans are, I listen to a soccer podcast called The Men in Blazers. It's an NBC production. These two British guys, expats. I think they're both American citizens now. But they say, soccer is America's next national sport ever since 1972. The sport of the future for America since 1972. I think that's when they came over or something. But apart from what we think as Americans, it is by far the world's top sports. Nielsen Sports is Nielsen, who does television rating stuff. They rate it at 46%, which is probably close to 3-4 billion people.
Yeah, that's right. I was in preparation for this. I was trying to figure out what other sports are close, and
Cricket.
I was shocked. Yeah. I saw cricket was a couple billion, but I think basketball was second when it comes to like
global fan interest
and money.
Yep.
But it's not even close.
It's not even close.
And like over half of the world's population is watching, paying for things with soccer. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I think 20% of the worldwide population participates. They play. They actually play the game, which is just shocking. And so, according to FIFA, in terms of competitive play, like on teams and things, the FIFA, the Fédération Internationale Football Association, one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, proven, I'm not just saying that, proven, there's been convictions. I think the American FBI was taking down FIFA a few years ago. So, but they estimate that on teams, competitive teams, that 265 million people play the game of soccer, and estimated maybe close to 24 million Americans play, and certainly youth soccer has been growing along the way. So soccer, man, it's a phenomenon. It's growing in America. This is as recent as earlier this year, 2018. Gallup did a poll that found 7%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 7% of Americans named soccer as their favorite sport to watch in a survey completed in December 2017. And so that was a 3 percentage point jump, right, in 4 years, which is significant. Now, it's on its way to being the third highest watched sport in a few years, probably in America, behind football, American football. Over baseball. Probably gonna jump baseball.
Leapfrog baseball.
Football, NFL kind of stuff. College football, 37%. People love to watch that. Basketball, 11%. That's down from 12. Baseball down from 13 to 9. With soccer, right, chomping at the baseball, the American pastime.
Yeah.
Some people are like, that's communism that soccer's going to pass baseball. But it is coming, man. And as a global phenomenon in terms of money, interest, passion, devotion, even you might say, it is just astronomically successful. Recently, a couple days ago, a guy named Leo Robson wrote in the New Yorker magazine an article called Goal Oriented, and online they have an online audio version of this called How We Watch Soccer Now. And his article is basically about how many Americans, they don't have this, hey, 4 generations of my family all supported Millwall Football Club or Arsenal Football Club or something like that. And that Americans kind of can be more neutral and enjoy it all. So soccer itself, rather than the localized club, kind of are on the rise. But some of the statistics that Robson cites in this New Yorker magazine piece was like, they're shocking. The leading European leagues, that's England, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, generated $18 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, 2016-17 season. That was a 9% increase. And Manchester United Football Club, which is the club I support, recently posted a record annual revenue. It's $800 million for one club, publicly traded, I believe, on the New York Stock Exchange.
How did you decide to support Man U?
The way it happened was really weird because I learned after the fact that I basically started supporting the New York Yankees.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is that just like choosing the Yankees?
Yeah, I'll save that. We're going to have a little testimonial time here. I'll save that story because there is a responsible party in this decision, and it is not me. Television broadcast rights. I think NBC just paid $1 billion to have the English Premier League on their broadcasting network, NBC Sports Network, till 2020-2021 season. $1 billion. Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, love him or hate him, has the second largest Instagram follower behind Selena Gomez.
Wait, is that true?
Apparently it's true.
Number one, that Selena Gomez is number one?
Apparently true.
And Ronaldo is number 2.
This is according to Leo Robson in the New Yorker. Now, in CR7, Ronaldo is also the most highly paid sports star in the world, just ahead of like people like LeBron James, newly crowned King James of the LA Lakers. and the Swiss tennis star Roger Federer, who's been just a wonderful athlete at the top of his game for a long, long time. So World Cup, everybody's talking about it. People are watching soccer. So I figured we'd just share a little bit of our own personal testimonies, if you will, related to the beautiful game.
Oh boy, I've got a very short personal testimony. I played as a kid, and all I remember is running.
How long did you play? Like
3 years,
5 to 8, something like that.
Yes, maybe 6 to 9, 7 to 10, something like that. All I remember is running, and then I got into baseball, and I was like, I don't have to run as much. I could kind of stand around
90 feet from one base to another,
and then basketball, and then I never played soccer again or watched it really until I was in college. In college, I worked at the athletic department, and I'd run the sidelines. Like I'd be the ball fetcher up and down the sidelines. And so I began to actually watch.
Was that for the men's team or the women's team?
For both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah. The men were nicer than the women.
They were.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably thinking everybody's there to hit on them or something. What's
I
that
don't
Jesse
know.
guy want to do?
I don't know. I might have been at the time, but and then I played intramurals, and I thought I was in the best shape of my life. I've been playing basketball, skipping class after class to play basketball. Not a good education plan, but I got to where I was pretty good shape.
Good for your game.
And good for And I remember going out our first day. We put together a soccer team of guys that played basketball together. And we just got destroyed.
Anticipating dominance.
Well, we just thought, hey, we're all athletic. We're in good shape. But these guys who had been just drinking since they came to college, but they played high school soccer, would just destroy us, like 9-0, 10-0. And I will never forget the first time I ran up and down the entire field. I chased, I got the ball, and I didn't know what to do, so I just started kicking it ahead of me and running. And I sprinted as fast as I could. Got all the way to the other side of the field, passed it, and then they got it and went all the way back, and I'm on defense, and I'm sprinting as fast as I can back down the field, and they score, and then I raise my hand for a sub. It was like one time up and down
I'm
the
permanently
field.
done with soccer.
I'm done. So then I just stayed in my space and tried to kick the ball away when it came near me.
Yeah, when you're doing things like intramural soccer or pickup soccer somewhere, you got to be careful who you play against.
I like to play pickup now. So every now and then, if I get invited into a game, I'll play. But I know my role.
Right.
I just get in the way. Try not to let someone. What's it called when they kick it through your legs?
Yeah, you.
Nutmeg. Yeah. Try not to let anybody do that, and just kick it to my teammates when I get it. I do enjoy watching now, so I'll get my little kids on, and we'll watch sometimes, and. When they were beginning to get, as a matter of fact, your wife and daughters did a little week soccer camp for my kids and last summer, and they loved it. And leading up to it, I got them excited by showing them Messi highlights on YouTube.
Clips. Yeah. Love it. Well,
that's it, man. That's my testimony.
Do you so you like it now? You like it?
I like it. Yeah. Why I used to think, how can you like a game that ends in a 0-0 draw or 2-0? But it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. Right before Jesse, you got here, I mentioned to you already that our family was watching the Belgian national team, which is who we're pulling for as a family, and they were down 2-0 to just an amazing, feisty, tough Japan side. And they came back and won 3-2, so they were like reveling and glorying, running around the house screaming. It was quite the moment. Yeah, I think my soccer testimony is almost a confession. Is the way it feels, and because I grew up absolutely hating the sport of soccer. In fact, I played when I was 5 years old. And I had this Marine Corps guy named Rocky who was my coach. And he literally said, hey, you should wrestle. And I was like, wrestling, that's stupid. So I quit playing soccer, didn't wrestle at the time, and just played football, American football, and then baseball, and kind of, started wrestling late for a wrestler, like about 12 years old. And that's what I remember most about soccer is I should have listened to my soccer coach and wrestled when I was 5. So I hated it, and I didn't get any help. My father quite literally told me that soccer was for communists and sissy boy kind of thing. It was kind of very low view of it in my family, and so I did not like soccer or soccer players. And then I went off on a wrestling scholarship to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where our women's soccer team was one of the best college athletic programs in the history of any sport kind of thing. I mean, Mia Hamm was in my political science recitation. She was like on, signed with Nike and big time, and they were killing everybody. So I was like, oh man, I hate soccer, but I like women's soccer. And so I kind of evolved forward a little bit. And then we were assigned after college, Casey and I went on staff with a group called Athletes in Action. And we were assigned to the University of Kentucky that had women's soccer but didn't have wrestling. I was like, what teams am I going to work with here? And so I got assigned by my campus director, a guy training me, to the men's soccer team, who had this red-faced English British coach who was crazy. But he let me talk to the guys, and all these guys like gave their life to Christ in a semester. So I'm like, wow. I'm working with all like these 12 soccer players. My wife's cooking food for them every Monday night. And so I was like, I guess I got to go to their games. And because I knew them, I was like, I'm going to watch this guy play defense and this guy do his thing. And I started to slowly, I guess it started to creep up on me. And then in the year 2000, we took a group of athletes to Europe. We were in the Czech Republic. And I tell you what, man, this one little town, it was, I think during the European Championships, Euro 2000, this little town absolutely shut down the whole town square, put up this old school Jumbotron massive television, with pixels probably as big as your fist. And everybody's just cranking beer. It's the Czechs, man, they drink more beer than anybody in the world per capita. And it was the most fun sports environment that I'd ever seen. It was just so fun, and they all knew what was happening and the intensity of it. And because there's no scoring, when people do score, it just goes nuts. And I was like, wow, there may be something to this. And so over time, I started to tolerate maybe soccer a little bit. And then finally, you have your kids, and all my kids have been playing since they're 4 or 5 years old, and I'm constantly at soccer games. So now I think I know tactics and I know formations. And but a few years ago, a friend said, hey, you're talking about how much you like soccer. You might as well get into watching the English Premier League. NBC has great coverage. And so at the time, I had 4 friends, okay, that began to, not quite like recruiting LeBron James, but to recruit me.
The decision. Yeah, the decision 2014. Who will read shoes?
It was kind of like that. And I think it was 2014. Might have been 15. But, it was 14. And one guy, Acts 29 pastor in Virginia Beach, was a Chelsea guy. So he was emailing me that I should, we're owned by a Russian mob baron or oil baron or something. We should, and we're good. And another guy who was an Arsenal fan in London, team in London. One of my really good friends in New Jersey, who's actually an Irishman. He's an Irish immigrant, grew up in Ireland his whole life. He was a Liverpool fan, like most Irish people. And then my good friend Brent Malcolm was a Manchester United fan. And so they all wrote these emails about why and copy all and stuff. It was kind of a big fun thing for about a week.
That sounds like fun.
I actually didn't do any research. I didn't look into who the teams were. It just was kind of fun. And I figured you just pick a team, you start watching. Well, I didn't realize how like intense and religious this stuff was. And so it came down to, we were talking to a family about who we wanted to cheer for. And in 2014, the German national team won the World Cup. And there was a guy named Bastian Schweinsteiger. And we were constantly running around our house screaming, literally, I'm not going to scream in the mic, but Schweinsteiger during the World Cup, this kind of obnoxious German accent kind of stuff. And he just got bought by Manchester United Football Club. So we're like, well, we gotta go that way because of Bastian Schweinsteiger. And then, of course, I told my Irish friend by saying, come on, you Reds. Well, Liverpool are red, too. And he thought I meant I was going Liverpool, and I wasn't. And he was actually really upset with me, disappointed, and kind of could see it in his face. But so we picked Man United. Then I learned that it is like the New York Yankees of English Premier Soccer because we are the best. And so people don't like the best. and so, so human spectacle of soccer. Now, I hate to admit it, I don't even watch this past fall. I didn't even watch college football. I got friends judge me hearing that. I watch all the games. We watch, my son and I, we know the English league, we know the French league, we know the Italian league.
You've done like an entire 180 on this then.
Yeah. And so when I speak at college retreats, I talk about the conversion of becoming a Christian, where you take on holiness and the fear of the Lord, kind of 1 Peter 2, as kind of new ways of talking, new ways of being. And I kind of share my soccer testimony, and I show my baptism where my buddy gave me a kit, which I called a jersey, but he properly told me it was a kit. So this shirt, Adidas shirt. And then I showed where I went on pilgrimage. We're actually in April 2016 went to Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams, where Manchester United plays, and I watched my team beat my son's Everton Football Club 1-0 with a goal by Anthony Martial, which the British call Tony. He's French.
So this sounds like a very ritualistic kind of thing, which is the way we're wired.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious as to how you chose Man United and then your son did not follow suit.
He did for a little bit, and the team that's in blue, Everton, they're kind of like a mid-table. There's 20 teams in the English league, and they're around 10th to 7th. If they have a great year, they might get 6th. And they had this Belgian striker named Romelu Lukaku, who became both of our favorite player. And so he started really liking them because he liked that Belgian guy. He scored a lot of goals. He was strong, tough, all that stuff. And so the beauty of football, especially in England, last year, Manchester United Football Club bought from Everton Football Club Romelu Lukaku.
Oh.
So
is Tommy coming around?
Yeah, he kind of felt like he does today because he's a Cavaliers fan and LeBron James going to the Lakers.
Is he going to stay a Cavs fan?
He is. I asked him that. He is. He's a Cavs fan. And now he's just a sad one because they're going to be terrible. So soccer, man, I've actually the last verse in 1 John chapter 5 is like, little children, keep yourself from idols.
That's right.
And so I confess, man, I love soccer now, and I have to really watch it in my soul.
I was just thinking about that on the drive over here because Zlatan. Did you see how he greeted LeBron?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zlatan is one of the top 3 active soccer players at the end of his career. Swedish.
That's right.
Amazing, over 400 goals.
He welcomed LeBron to L.A. by saying something along the lines of, L.A. now has a god and a king. King James.
Welcome to L.A.
Welcome, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, does he know what he's saying? Is that like a translation problem? He knows what he's saying. He calls himself God.
Well, that comes from when he decided to, at the end of his career, go to Manchester United from Paris Saint-Germain in Paris. And there was a guy that they used to call King Cantona, who was this Frenchman who was really good at United. And so because they already had a king, there had to be something above that. So he said, I'll go there and be a god. Well,
Okay.
Good transition for us, perhaps, to.
I just thought, man, that is like out there. As a matter of fact, I remember now that when he was moving to L.A., that was this year, right?
That's right. This is this year.
He announced it in part with that picture of him as Jesus arm wrestling the devil.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, man, this is
part of it's a caricature. It's a campaign. He kind of has this shtick he does. I don't think he actually thinks he's God, but if he heard me say that, he'd say, "Yes, I do." But yeah, he, of course, when he went to LA Galaxy, he scores 2 goals in his first game, and they win the game against their rivals. It was just too ridiculous. It's that kind of. He's got a huge ego. Well, when you think about human spectacle, that's what we're looking at. When over half the world is into something, when the amount of money that is both made by FIFA, smuggled, stole, embezzled by FIFA, made by all kinds of people, athletes being paid millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars per week, right? It's absurd. It's absurd amount of money. You're looking at something of a massive influence on human communities. And so it reminds me of the ancient world where one of the leaders in the early Christian movement, Saul of Tarsus, became Paul the Apostle, St. Paul if you're up Catholic. He was in the ancient city of Athens observing similar human spectacles. Glorious cities, you always have things on display that show the heart and love of a people. And this is out of the book of Acts chapter 17. I don't know if you could read that for us, Jesse, that verse 16 through 23.
I can, yeah. Now while Paul was waiting for them at Athens, his spirit was provoked within him as he saw the city was full of idols. So he reasoned in the synagogue with the Jews and the devout persons, and in the marketplace every day with those who happened to be there. Some of the Epicurean and Stoic philosophers also conversed with him, and some said, "What does this babbler wish to say?" Others said he seems to be a preacher of foreign divinities because he was preaching Jesus and the resurrection. And they took him, and they brought him to the Areopagus, saying, "May we know what this new teaching is that you're presenting? For you bring some strange things to our ears. We wish to know, therefore, what these things mean." Now all the Athenians and the foreigners who live there would spend their time in nothing except telling or hearing something new. So Paul, standing in the midst of the Areopagus, said, Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are very religious. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I found also an altar with this inscription, To the unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you.
That's right. And I'm sure he was not referring to Zlatan, the unknown God. But here the interesting thing is that Paul, he's waiting for some friends, right? He's going from one city. He's waiting in Athens for his friends to arrive. And it says his spirit was provoked within him because he saw the city was full of idols. I mean, visual manifestations or representations of certain religious devotion of the Greeks in his day. And so one of the things that he was doing was observing the objects of their worship. And when you think about it, in the modern world, we see multi-million-dollar stadiums, cathedrals. I remember standing at the top of the Virginia Tech American football stadium with my kids talking about the objects of our cultural worship, because that place will be filled with close to 70,000 people going nuts for some little boys running around with a ball. TV rights, $1 billion, right? We're seeing in our own culture artifacts, stadiums, superstars, icons, a guy saying he's a god, money everywhere. It's very easy for us to observe objects of worship. And so my question is, what are people after, with this soccer craze? What are they after with football? What do they get from it, man? Any thoughts?
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind is that it's impossible to resist. Right, so it's possible for me personally to resist going to Lane Stadium, that's Virginia Tech's football field, or it may be possible for me not to worship Zlatan.
Right.
But my point is that I think we're made in a certain way. I think God programmed us so that we would be constantly in search of something to worship. Augustine described us that's St. Augustine, who ancient African philosopher, theologian, described people as being bent forward. In other words, God made us to be led by our hearts in a sense. We want to find some object and then we want to devote ourselves to it. What's more is I think we're also made to be communal, to be relational. And so there's a sense of corporate identity that happens
right.
when we're cheering and we're, when you think about what happens at a football stadium, everybody at the right cues, they're singing the same songs together. They're lifting their hands in worship at the right time. They're celebrating.
There's a belonging.
There's even a sense of lament together. People don't lament together, except they do with sports.
Right.
And so I think there's a sense of corporate identity, of belonging, even personal identity. I have some sense of meaning based on who I love and support.
Even some of the modern brand marketing and brand identification taps into this human idea that we all want to belong to something. Say, hey, it's goofy to walk into a coffee shop and see everybody has the same computer, but there's a brand called Apple that people have identified with certain values, with certain loves, with certain belongings, with what you think of yourself and other people who might not use Android phones or something like that. And certainly we see that with soccer. People, they don't call them fans in England. They call them supporters. What club do you support?
Yep.
And they do know the songs with each other. They know the colors. They make fun of Americans who don't understand these things, and they try to come participate in it. There's a victory narrative. There's a defeat, like you said. There's a lament narrative there. And I do think there's a vicarious glory where we want to participate in the glory of something bigger than ourselves that we're not even doing.
Yeah, they're representatives, and we all want a representative hero that we can really kind of identify with and put ourselves in his place or her place, and they give us that.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Portuguese people
when we win.
Watching, yeah.
I'm a Redskins fan as far as American football.
Kind of like being an Everton fan, isn't it? Kind of almost good.
I don't
used
know.
To be good.
Oh, yes, yeah. So 10th out of 20.
Yeah.
Well, that's on a good year for us. We don't get the vicarious victories. But we do get the corporate lament.
Yeah. Or Portuguese people seeing Ronaldo score a hat trick against Spain. It does something for their corporate view.
I was in London in 2004, and It was during the Euro Cup. What is that called? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, the European Championships.
That's right.
Euro 2004.
And France and England were playing, and it was. I remember we walked about a mile to a friend of ours had an apartment or was staying at a hotel in the city, and we walked maybe 3/4 of a mile to get there. And on the way there, we walked about halfway through the first half, and it was like a dead city because everybody is watching, England. And England had a good team. This is Rooney when he was young. This is Beckham.
I think that might have been when Rooney burst on the scene.
It was
scoring goals and running over people and pushing them around.
And so we walked over to our friend's house to watch the match, and England was winning 1-0. They had a chance. Beckham had a chance to score to send them up 2-0 and missed. And then who was the guy, the French guy?
Thierry Henry.
No,
Zinedine Zidane.
So Zidane scored back-to-back goals really at the end of the game. So it was this shocking, all the air went out of the stadium. And so then we were like, oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
England lost. And then we got out of the hotel to walk back, and there was a riot.
Right.
It was insane. Like
right.
it was
people were breaking things,
there was a car that drove by with a France flag, and people were picking up whatever they could find to throw at the car. I mean, we just kind of put our heads down and just hustled back. And it gave you the sense of this is identity. This is like we live and die with this team.
Yeah. It's a good thing to get outside of America, because we do have our own sports. We invented basketball with a peach basket, and football is derivative from soccer way back. But we have our own sports, and so we don't see the importance of this game that others. I was in Latin America in 1998 with a wrestling team, and we were in Guatemala and Nicaragua, and our bus driver was supposed to pick us up at a certain time, and I think it was when somebody really good in Latin America was playing Mexico, Brazil, or something like that. And we sat on the curb for 2 hours, and the guy just didn't show up. And he got there, and he's like, oh, I thought it was at this time. And our host, the Guatemalan brother, he's like, no, you were watching the game. We're okay. We're all right. But, yeah, it's this huge identity and huge vicarious relationship with an idea of a sports team or country. And we maybe don't experience that as much with soccer, but we certainly do with, your favorite NBA team or your favorite college sports team. People get a little bit crazy. Well, the question is that I have for us to close on is obviously with people like Ronaldo or Messi or Zlatan, there's human glory involved. Somebody does something with a ball that's amazing, and people all celebrate. They are glorifying something there. Is this human glory? Is that distracting from what we were made for, the worship of God? Is it blasphemous? Can it be helpful? Help us here with this, because it's like, should I watch
I'm supposed
this?
To help you.
Should I watch this? Should I watch England play Colombia tomorrow? I will.
Sure. I mean, I would say it could be good. It could be bad, right? People are really excellent at something that's good, can be true, can be beautiful, really extremely beautiful. And to be good at something like that that has nothing to do with whether or not that person is being a glory hound, seeking their own glory.
Right, or sucking it all in, a glory vacuum. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Just being good at something and then watching and participating and enjoying that I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, maybe even a part of creation.
Sure.
And certainly creations that are said to be in the image and likeness of God.
Yeah, I think, why not have soccer in the new heavens and the new earth?
Yeah.
With restored bodies.
Right.
I'll be able to dribble a soccer ball and
Jesus
not fall over myself.
can't be the other team's goalie, though.
Yeah,
right?
Well, that's right. Why not? I mean, I think that we won't have the faking, the rolling around and doing the 19 barrel rolls and
when the kingdom arrives in glory, Neymar will play clean.
He'll play clean. He'll play true
and beautiful and right and good. Yeah.
And people won't. The people won't suck the glory out of it for themselves. They'll reflect it back to God. So I would say, I mean, the spectacle of sport can be really beautiful and good and true, and something to be enjoyed, a way in which we can enjoy God, a way in which we can learn about God. But it also, I do have a hard time like imagining someone getting to that level, the professional level, without being really tempted to be
egotistical, self-centered, selfish.
Yeah. I mean, because
don't pass the ball.
You've habituated
Yeah.
practices of being the best at something, and I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm sure there are professional athletes that are more humble than me,
right.
But it helps to be humble that I'm not that great at anything,
Right.
and no one's telling me you're the best,
Right.
And those guys get that all the time. I imagine that would be really difficult.
Yeah. Well, one of the major issues, and it happens both within the career of an athlete, high-level athlete, and at the end of the career, is precisely this: learning to play with the motivation of not glorifying self, but glorifying God. Because there are high-level, deeply committed Christians, a lot of them on the Brazilian national team, apparently. Radamel Falcao, the striker for Colombia, is a very outspoken follower of Jesus, apparently. That within that world, how do you motivate yourself to high excellence? And then how do you not engage in self-glorification with 50,000 people screaming and singing a song they made up about you?
Yeah.
Right? It's
I don't know. If 7 people tell me I preached a good sermon, I walk home going, I'm the best.
Right.
So it'd be
if
hard.
we get up to 25 5-star reviews on iTunes on the Gospel Underground, I think it could make my day. But yeah, that's a very challenging thing for the Christian athlete, because glory is inappropriately ascribed to man, to these women and men who play a game. And that's a problem. When your career ends, all of that disappears. They don't care about you anymore. You're not in the spotlight. Wayne Rooney, you mentioned him in 2004, stepping on the World Cup scene. Now he's, getting transferred to the MLS, to DC United. We could go see a game.
We could go.
We'll go see Wayne Rooney stumble around in his 30s after playing highest level since he was 16. It's going to be hard for him as a human being to let it go.
Yeah.
And to find his identity somewhere else. So there's problems with this glorification of man in sports, and there's beauty in the beauty of the image of God exercising the faculties and gifts God has given. And so, when the stadium erupts, it's almost like that praise only can go so high because everything about our God is much more glorious than the smartest person we see, the best athlete we see, the most glorious version of a woman or man that we see. And that's why we read in Psalm 29, ascribe to the Lord, O heavenly beings, almost like telling the angels, right? Ascribe to the Lord the glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due his name. He's due it. Worship the Lord in the splendor of holiness. Zlatan Ibrahimovic does not deserve human worship. But the creator of all things does. The one who became man. I made a joke about Jesus playing goalie because he'd be amazing, because he was amazing at all things human.
You think he'd let you score, though?
To love me, he might.
He might, yeah.
He might. Like a dad.
That was a great shot, Reed. I just couldn't quite get to it.
Man, you're just such a good soccer player. You're terrible. Like a good dad, he probably teaches how to lose well, too.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 10 says, if I partake with thankfulness. Now, this is about,
what you eat,
motivations about what we're eating or not, and in some religious things going on in the ancient world. But he's saying, if I partake, I engage with this. And I think we can apply this to soccer or American college football if you're an Alabama fan. If I partake with thankfulness, why am I denounced because of that which for I give thanks? So, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. And so participation in the World Cup, I do know when I get too depressed about the outcome of sports games, there's something twisted happening in my soul. And I don't say that in a trite way. I really mean that. Yeah. And I do know when I, a little too happy because of a certain team, be that football or soccer, the real football, or these microphones, whatever it might be, I do know there's something twisted that can happen in my soul. And so we keep watch, as 1 John says, we keep ourselves from idle, and we give thanks for things rather than worshiping them. It's like the guy you mentioned earlier, St. Augustine said, we would think low of someone who if a guy gave an engagement ring to his girlfriend and she says, "Ooh, I love this ring. Now go away. I have no use for you."
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That we can rejoice in the gift only properly when we give thanks to the giver.
Amen.
And Augustine would say, hey, she loves the one who gives the ring rather than the ring itself. And we can love the one who gives us things for our enjoyment and our good and allows us to participate in them, whatever they might be, playing a violin, digging a ditch, playing soccer, whatever it might be.
Amen. Yeah, I totally agree, and I hope that God doesn't have me dig any ditches.
I want to make shoes in the kingdom of heaven because there won't be
Be a
any
cobbler.
responsibility. Yeah, just make some shoes, do something over and over again well. It won't have to be responsible for people or anything. That's gonna be my job.
Read the cobbler.
Be a shoemaker, reinvent Velcro or something. Well, closing up today.
You think we'll all have forgotten about Velcro?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty glorious, man. Invented for spaceships and ended up on kids' shoes, man. That is a good thing from God. Well, closing up, just in case, there might be a few of you who made it to the end here and still hate soccer, or maybe I've converted you to say, hey, maybe I need to give this soccer thing a little bit of a try. Our review-ish segment today, it's not a review. It's just review-ish.
Just ish.
It's ish because we didn't do too much research on these reviews that we do. There are some wonderful soccer podcasts and shows that I'll just briefly mention, and these are very visible, very available. They're not the Soccer Underground or anything like that, but I do love them and listen to them often. First one is the Men in Blazers podcast. They also have a 30-minute NBC Sports Network show. The two British guys I mentioned, Raj Bennett and Davo. I forget Dave's last name, but Raj and Davo, Men in Blazers, fantastic, funny, smart, winsome, and they'll keep you up with the English Premier League. ESPN FC Football Club. They're okay. And if you happen to have satellite radio, Sirius XM, the football show is okay, but the best show on that network is called Grumpy Pundits, a former British player who also played for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, Rodney Marsh, and then this Irish brother named Tommy. I don't know his last name, but these guys are awesome. They're cranky. They gong people if they call in with some stupid mess. They're just awesome. Grumpy Pundits, if you can find that online. And then, of course, if you choose a team, maybe Everton Football Club or the Wolverhampton Wanderers, the Wolves, who just got promoted from the second division into the Premier League this year. Usually there's some team-oriented podcasting that goes on. And so for me, that's the Manchester United Redcast, done by these journalists and actors and things from England that are just funny. So I love the Redcast. Anything else you got for the soccer world?
Oh,
Jesse?
no, I've got nothing else.
Did
but
I convert you?
You've actually converted me to check out Men in Blazers.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
because I'm interested.
The
I'm
Men in
interested.
Blazers,
Yeah, Men in Blazers
podcast. Not quite as good as our crap, but their crap is pretty good. 5-star reviews on iTunes are acceptable. Get us up to 25 and make us feel good about ourselves. Our listening numbers are growing, and so are reviews. I think we're at 13, Jesse.
All right,
We're
over halfway there.
We
to
are
25.
on our way. The Gospel Underground is a joint production of Power of Change and the Bonhoeffer House. Send your comments, feedback, your heckling of Manchester United to info@gospelunderground.org. We are dialogue taking place on the borderlands between the church and culture and arenas and football stadiums. And we're here to chop it up. All right, guys. Signing out. Peace.
Peace.